I'm a priest. It was my bishop who sent me to the emergency housing camp at Noisy-le-Grand on the outskirts of Paris. I arrived there for the first time on the 14th of July 1956. The families I met reminded me of my mother's poverty. The children who assailed me from the moment I arrived were my brothers and sister. They were me 40 years earlier in the Rue Saint-Jacques in Angers. Since then, the families in that camp have inspired everything I have undertaken for their liberation. They've taken hold of me. They've inhabited me. They've carried me forward. They've pushed me to found the movement with them.
Elles se sont donné une identité en se forgeant un nom, celui de Quart Monde.
On that 14th of July 1956, my life was transformed. On that day I promised myself that the world would come to know these families, to get decent housing for them, work for the adults, skills for the youngsters, and schools where the children could at last learn something. That was also the day when I chose the path that I would have to take, so that the poorest families would have a recognized and respected place in the world. I would have to enable them to climb the steps of the United Nations, UNESCO, UNICEF, the ILO, the Council of Europe, and the Vatican to make their voice heard. Thanks to the families, I went to the end of this road, and thanks also to the men and women who came to join us.
Grâce aussi à des hommes et des femmes qui sont venus nous rejoindre.
Father Joseph, you are the President and Managing Director of Aide à toute détresse. How long has this movement been in existence?
Well, first of all, I'm not the President and Managing Director of Aide à toute détresse. To be exact, the movement began when I was 5 years old. I'd already understood that nothing I could do would amount to anything if there wasn't a movement which had as its basic objective the eradication of misery amongst the most excluded people. Neither did I want to undertake what you might call a charity, like, for instance, giving handouts, because that is what caused me the most suffering during my own childhood. What I felt so deeply in myself, and what I believed to be absolutely necessary, was to enable people to be free through learning and through the sharing of knowledge. And that's actually the reason why I used to talk so much about knowledge, about libraries, about play schools, about all sorts of things. I bear witness to you, the poor of all times, still poor today, forever on the roads, fleeing from place to place, despised and banished. Laborers without a trade, forever crushed by work. Laborers whose hands today have become barren. Millions of men, women, and children whose hearts are still pounding strong to the beat of the struggle, whose minds revolt against the unjust fate imposed upon them, whose courage demands the right to dignity, which has no price. I bear witness to you, so that people will at last fulfill their destiny, refusing forever that misery prevail.
De la misère, la fatalité.